Hey guys, and welcome to the Little Off. My name is Danny.
Hi, mine is Rich.
And yeah, good to be back filming together. Nice to see you, as always.
Well,
nice to see all you. Well, can't actually see you, but hopefully we'll hear from you in the comments. I'm sure a lot of you lately have been thinking about your pedal boards, your gear, your rig, using this time to kind of, have a really good thought about, your options.
it's getting priorities, isn't it?
Yeah.
Getting priorities right. So clearly pedal boards at the top. So
yeah, exactly. Top of the list really. Well, clearly top of my list because I've been planning this kind of mini board based on the Schmidt Array 250. As soon as I saw that board, it was just something where I was just like, I just have to have it because I've never seen a board this small that will also do this.
Ooh, secret compartment.
So it's just completely compact, really cool, built like an absolute, you know what,
tank.
That's German engineering for you.
Yeah, well made, isn't it? I mean, it looks pretty different to when I last saw your board, and there's some cool stuff on it. A lot of NRG stuff as well.
Yeah, and it's worth saying this isn't a sponsored video.
I'm sure Neil's very happy actually. But
well, yeah. But he's become a friend through us actually buying his pedals. We just happen to be in the same town, and I think he makes some of the best stuff out there. For those pedal show watchers, he was described as the man of the magic ears and hands.
Yeah.
So yeah, his work is really getting noticed now, just kind of worldwide, and we're not doing this to try and promote him because he quite clearly doesn't need it at the moment.
No, it's just good. It's just that good, isn't it? So
rather than me, talk through my board, we thought a really cool little series would be give my mate my rig. So Rich has my guitar. He hasn't played through this board before because I've literally just brought it round. Rich is also in the process of just finishing off his board, so we'll do a bit of a swap once that's done. Hopefully when we're able to have more people up here, we'll be able to invite some friends, bring their boards, and we'll all kind of play each other's without any preconceptions of anything. And
yeah, it is cool. It's just like, it's a lovely board. Maybe something you could play, even if you've got some friends or musicians that got some stuff that you obviously don't have or you may not be able to get. It's just nice to be able to play on it and have a go. It's just so cool.
That's the best thing about playing guitar is when you've got mates who've got new bits of gear. It kind of you going around there and being able to try it and play it. That's what this whole community we're trying to build is about. So we thought this series would be a really cool idea. So my guitar, Fidelity Guitars, double standard. I won't go through all the specs. There is a video on this if you want to watch it. It's important to note that it's got a single coil gold foil in the neck and a Filtertron style pickup in the bridge, which is really cool. That's going into Rich's Victory VC35, set pretty clean, into the 2 notes torpedo. You're hearing it all direct, we're hearing it through studio monitors. Then straight into the board.
That's a it.
So if we start off with just nothing, guitar into the Victory.
Okay.
Sounds like this. Nice. So yeah, a really cool sound. Not everyone does this, but something I like to do on any clean channel is I like to have something on top of that. So I very rarely play an amp that clean with nothing on it. Some people use like the Klon, or some people just use a boost. The Kicker by NRG is it's kind of like preampy, so it's not an overdrive, but it just gives everything a bit of a lift. So if you play without it again, and I'll bring it in.
All right. Yeah.
So it's more, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but for me, the reason I have it, it's more of like a feel thing. It might not come across massively different to you, you know, through your phone or through YouTube, but playing live...
to me, it feels like it fills up the gaps a little bit, you know? Like something where you might miss, I don't know, it just smooths it out and gives you that kind of little notch upwards without really taking too much away from the amp at all.
And I find this really important, actually, with balancing. Another good question people ask us is, how do you balance your volume between your overdrives and your amp? Having something like that set as a constant to match your overdrive pedals too, kind of, you don't really get those big spikes, because obviously with nothing on the clean channel and no compression or really anything, I know the amp is compressing, when you hit it, it can be quite a whoa, whereas it takes that initial spike away and helps you balance the rest of the board nicely. So anything you hear now, the Kicker will be always on.
Yeah.
So that just stays on for my sound. Just a really quick note as well, you might think that these two pedals are on all the time. They're not. They're actually controlled by the quartermaster, because when this is down, obviously I can't have access to them. So this brings these in and out.
Okay. So you're sort of setting those, forget them, leave them on.
So we come to my first gain stage, which is the mini purrer. You might have seen that I got Rich in a previous video. Pretty cool best man present for my wedding. It was meant to be this year, but it's going to be next year now.
You've got time to think about it, haven't you?
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, this will be on Rich's boards again soon. But the mini purrer is Neil's natural overdrive, very original design, really high headroom. But yeah, let's talk and let's show what it sounds like.
Yeah, can't beat it, can you?
Well, it's just that really cool, the way I have it set around that. It's just that kind of classic rock. I find that if I set my first gain stage to that, it's got enough room that I can clean up with, and when I juice it with something else, it doesn't all cave in because there's not loads of gain initially.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice. What I like about that tone is it serves so many things as well. It's just, there's so much stuff you can play with it, and not to have to worry about having too many pedals. Because that's what I've always liked with pedal boards, is, you know, having a setup, but you can pretty much cover any bass. So if you're in a band, you're playing cover songs, you can get close to most stuff you need to. And I think any rock stuff, middle of the road stuff, that's just on the money, isn't it?
I think that's a good point, because the sort of stuff me and Rich do is tribute bands, function bands, stuff where we have to cover a lot of ground. Obviously doing videos up here, I'll come to the super mod station in a minute, but having something like the Keeley that I can dial in a load of effects, different effects very quickly. If we're doing a video on Van Halen one day, it's got a phaser, but then the next video we might be doing a video on Ariel Posen and we've got harmonic trem. And
well, you've got options, isn't it? It gives you options, which is always important.
Yeah. So the thing about the Purrer Mini, like I said, it's got a load of headroom, load of dynamic. So actually I can put some boosts in front of this and it still doesn't all cave in. So I've got two boosts that I hit this with and I use for two different things. The first one is the Poker, which is based on your treble booster. I use that in my Queen tribute band, but I've actually found that I use that in almost any gig now because it's just a cool sound. And then we've got the Humper, which is a mid-boost overdrive. It's not just a Tube Screamer clone, it's not that at all, it's an original design. But the ethos behind it is it's got no gain in it. So a lot of people set their Tube Screamers to gain off, volume up, and it gives it that really cool with the EQ in there, mid boost. And this is what this does really nicely. Because it hasn't got any gain in there, you're not saturating the drive stage, you're just kind of getting that extra sustain. So I'll show you the difference between them both. If we start with the poker, so it's just the PURRER on now. So if you kind of slide into a note or bend a note, I'll show you how much kind of sustain it gives you. And bear in mind that we're going through studio monitors here, so live with a cab loud feeding back, you get like way more. But yeah, this is what it's interesting. Like.
Okay. Yeah, that outlasted me, that did. Your 10s on here, I'm like, my fingers can't take it.
Yeah, so, you know, that's really cool that it gives you kind of that sustain. And I'll show you the, you know, differences between what the HUMPER sounds like. So just the PURRER again. So the thing I like about the HUMPER, and why you might ask why I have both, well, one is that I do a Queen tribute band, so I have to have a treble booster, but the other is the poker treble booster is so kind of sustained. It's like that moment where you're holding a note and the whole thing is just like incredible. Yeah. I find that the HUMPER bridges the gap between your drive sound and your full-on lead sound. If you're doing a bit more of a chilled out solo or something a bit more kind of stripped back, but you still want some sustain, that's really cool.
Cool.
So those two boosts are going into my drive stage, the PURRER. So I don't need any more drive going in. That's enough gain, enough sustain for me. But sometimes when you play a gig with a second guitarist, it's really loud.
You put it well. Yeah.
I'm joking. I can't match Rich for his licks, so I try and outdo him with volume.
Yeah, just drown me out.
That's my tip for you right there. So the pumper, which is underneath, is just one knob, and it's just a clean boost. So because I've got this after all my drives, I'm only getting a volume lift. I'm not adding any more kind of front end saturation. So this probably doesn't come on that often, but there's definitely certain gigs, situations that I'm sure you've been in where you just wish you had a button that you could just, not like be obscenely loud, but just that little lift to sometimes you need.
Just to rise above it, innit?
So I'll set up a lead sound and I'll bring that in.
All right.
So that might have not been that obvious through YouTube or through your phone, because it deals with volume lifts and squashes it a little bit, but it's definitely there, and like I say, it's set quite subtle. So the next thing I'd like to show you is my kind of two more like when you're struggling for a riff or struggling for a solo, these can really help you like break out of that traditional headspace. So the Argonaut by Mythos, it's just a pure clean octave up, but not in the way of it's not just an octave up. It's like replicating a fuzz octave up, but without a fuzz.
Right, okay.
The idea is you can combine this with any of your favourite drive pedals and basically turn it into an octave fuzz. So if we start with the PURRER and the HUMPER again, I'll bring in the Argonaut now.
Go for ages, can you? Loads of ideas coming already.
Yeah, and if you go on the neck pickup and kind of play around the 12th fret, you get that kind of jimmy thing.
Yeah, very nice.
So like I say, I think it's really cool having a pedal like that it just can completely kind of put you in a new headspace.
It just makes you react differently, doesn't it? Like the way it kind of cuts the note off and it just produces that sound, and it's like that just, you know.
It changes the way you play, because
totally.
you have to play the pedal, or else if you try and play anything with kind of any fluidity, you'll soon look a bit stupid.
It's nice actually, yeah, it does force you to do certain things.
Yeah. So the next pedal I want to show you is the Aurora Mini. So that's Neil's original design on a fuzz distortion. The really cool thing about this is it can go anywhere on your board. So it can go after buffers, wahs, don't have to worry. Because that's a real big thing for me, is that you get 3 or 4 pedals that you want. You get a treble booster, a fuzz, and they all say that they need to go before the other and stuff.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes you start worrying about things, and
it can get confusing, can't it? Like there's no, I don't know, it's never really kind of there's a right or wrong way of having your pedal order, but I think when you've got pedals like that, it just helps make it a bit easier, doesn't it? I mean,
it does help, and especially in our situations where you know, you might be playing a function somewhere, a wedding or whatever, and you're off some generator that's looks like it's had its best days, and your board might be fine in most places you go to, but I needed to make this board like basically as bomb proof as I could make it, because there's nothing more embarrassing than turning up, and it doesn't matter if your board's been fine 99 times out of 100, if you get to that one gig and it just starts screaming at you, there's nothing worse in the world.
No, yeah, you're knackered, aren't you, really?
Especially if you're sitting in with a new band, it just makes you look really unprofessional, and this is why a lot of thought has gone into this, and having the fuzz that can go anywhere kind of really adds to that. So yeah, just the kicker on. Yeah, I'll show you show me what the Aurora is like. Really cool.
Really nice.
So, almost kind of run through the board really. The only thing that's left underneath that I haven't shown you is the GNAWER. So this is a new addition to me. I haven't exactly figured out where it's going to kind of go in my kind of setup, but I have definitely done a few gigs where I've just thought perhaps I need that in between kind of a light drive and a fuzz. Like you need a good old,
just a bit of
a cranked Marshall kind of sound. This is Neil's take on the Rat. It has the same fabled chip. I think it's the LM308. I could have got that wrong, but he managed to get hold of some of those kind of original chips. But again, it's a completely revamped design, so it sounds really great at lower gain as well as higher gain.
Cool.
And this is what it sounds like. I think you've summed it up better than I can. So it's just cool to have that, especially when we're recording sometimes at low volumes. Having a pedal like that with a bit more juice, because we're not, like I said, we're not getting that feedback from the amp. Something like that. If we're doing a really tricky video on a quite a technical player, sometimes you need that little bit of extra under the fingers.
Yeah. I mean, just slightly off point there, but as well, I always find it's nice to have that contrast between something like that. I mean, that's probably the most sort of gain, if you like, you've got on your board, and it's kind of, I don't know, like it's almost playing without a load of gain, so that when you do get that just feels like so much more.
Yeah.
When actually it may not even be that much, you know.
Yeah, I know.
So starting from the bottom, you know, start lower down with your gain staging and just kind of get used to playing that a little bit. Yeah. Because I think I used to do it when I was younger, and you just crank everything up and gain everything, and you got nowhere to go. So you kind of like you just after more distortion, more gain, then you just end up sort of, you know, folding into a big puddle of something, you know.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really happy with that. Like I say, that'll be for certain gigs, certain occasions. It won't be kind of chucked on with everything else. It's almost like a different flavour of if I need it. But yeah, it's really, really cool. So the last thing to get to is this, which is also new. And I'll be honest, I'm not really a big fan of multi-effects units. I usually find that if something is all combined in one box, surely there's a sacrifice somewhere, because, you know, I can't fit, this has got 10 effects on it. I can't fit 10 more pedals on here. So you can set any of these two buttons to the effects that are listed here, and it's got a tap tempo, which is really cool. So for one gig, for a Queen tribute gig, I can set one side to a phaser, one to a delay, but then I might have another gig where I can set harmonic trim and a bit of reverb. Or if we're doing a video, like I say, on a particular artist, like a lick-like video, and it's just really handy to have hands at, you know, quite a few effects in one. So the way I would set this on my own personal board is I would have this button here as an analog delay and number 2 as harmonic tremolo, because they're just the two things that I love the most.
Yeah, this is the icing on the cake, I think, isn't it?
So if I set you up with a bit of drive sound again, who doesn't like delay, right?
I love delay.
Yeah, I've had a bit of a funny relationship with delay. I kind of hadn't had one on my board for so long, and then as soon as I got one again, I was like, how have I lived without this?
Yeah, you do. I don't know. I've always stayed quite close to. I've always had a delay of some sort going on. It's just, I don't know. I think once you kind of get a lead sound you like, and you know it's made up of whatever sort of fundamental bits and pieces, it's hard to go away from. I don't know, but that's just me.
Definitely. So the final thing is harmonic tremolo. So I'm going to keep that sound, and I'm just going to add the harmonic trem in for you.
All right.
So yeah, harmonic trem is something I've really got into lately, probably because of Ariel, Ariel Posen, that pedal show. It's become quite a kind of popular effect lately, but it's not as in your face as a univibe, but it kind of gives you that kind of type thing, and it's just, I just absolutely love with it, and probably turn it on too much now.
That's the thing, isn't it? Everything in moderation.
Yeah. Well, I'm probably going to just grab it because I'm hearing Rich play, you know, through this board and sounding so good. It's just made me want to play. So I'll play you guys out. But I hope you enjoyed this. Like I say, it's going to look a little bit of a mini series we've got coming up. I'm going to play Rich's new board once he's got it built, and Rich's guitar. Hopefully get a few cool guitar players up here to do the same once we can.
Yeah.
And nice to see you all again. Let us know what you think in the comments, and see you in a video again soon.
Cool. Over to you.